Hey there, beautiful people. I'm Laurie and I'm 27. So let me tell you about my life. I've always been a go-getter, someone who wanted to make a mark in the world. I never really bought into the idea that my worth as a woman was tied to getting married and having children. Instead, I focused on building my career and chasing my dreams. I was working for this amazing upcoming company that was about to hit the big time. I loved my job and I was proud of what I had achieved, but there was one little problem. My husband, Damien. He seemed a bit insecure about my success. Maybe he felt like he was being overshadowed by my ambition. I knew he had some reservations, but I didn't think it was a big deal. After all, I believed he should deal with his insecurities on his own. We got married pretty quickly, and looking back, I regretted rushing into it. As time went on, I started to see Damien's true character. He was this flirtatious and overly friendly guy, and it made me uncomfortable. Even on our dates, he would stare at other women like he couldn't help himself. It was disheartening, and I couldn't ignore it any longer, so I decided to confront him about it. I mustered up the courage to talk to him about his behavior, but you know what he did? He played it off like it was no big deal. He acted like he wasn't objectifying and sexualizing these women right in front of me. Damien, can we talk for a moment? I need to address something that's been bothering me. Sure, what's up? Well, it's about how you stare at other women when we're out together. It makes me feel uncomfortable and disrespected. Oh, come on, Laurie. It's not a big deal. I was just looking around, people watching. People watching? It's more than that, and you know it. I've noticed you staring at them in a way that feels inappropriate. You're blowing this out of proportion. It's just harmless looking. It doesn't feel harmless to me. It feels like you're objectifying them right in front of me, and it hurts. I never meant to hurt you. You're overreacting. No, I don't think I am. I deserve to be with someone who respects me and doesn't make me feel inadequate. Look, I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. I'll try to be more mindful, okay? I don't appreciate you acting like this isn't a big deal. I deserve to be respected and appreciated. I do appreciate you. I just didn't think this was such a big deal. Well, it is a big deal to me. I want to be with someone who makes me feel loved and cherished, not someone who makes me doubt myself. I never wanted to make you doubt yourself. I love you, Laurie. Love is more than just words, Damien. It's about actions and making your partner feel secure and respected. I get it, okay? I'll try to do better. Can we just drop it now? I need you to understand how important this is to me. I don't want to keep feeling this way. It was frustrating and hurtful, and I couldn't understand why he didn't take my concerns seriously. I felt like he didn't respect me or my feelings. So after that talk with Damien, I thought he would change his ways, But boy, was I wrong. He didn't even try to hide it anymore. His ogling at women only got worse, and he started making lewd comments about them when he thought I couldn't hear. It was infuriating, to say the least. I mean, why couldn't he understand how hurtful and disrespectful his actions were? It's like he didn't care at all about my feelings. It got on my nerves so much that I was starting to question why I even stayed with him. One day, out of the blue, I got a text from a girl named Chantal. I didn't recognize the number, and I was a bit hesitant to respond. But curiosity got the better of me, so I decided to see what it was about. She revealed that she had been sleeping with Damien for the past 2 months, and I was devastated. I mean, I knew he was a flirt, but I never imagined he would go this far and cheat on me. Despite being upset, I decided to give Chantal a call to hear her side of the story. Turns out Damien had been lying to her, telling her that he wasn't married. Can you believe the nerve of this guy? He was playing us both like fools. Before you think I did this intentionally, I want you to know I didn't know he was married at first. He lied to me, Laurie. He said he was single and that he wasn't involved with anyone. Of course he did. I should have known. I guess he's always been a liar and a cheater. I'm so sorry, Laurie. I had no idea. As soon as I found out, I broke things off with him. But I didn't tell him that I knew. I just felt so embarrassed and I didn't want to be involved in any of this. But I wanted to come to you as a woman and tell you what happened, straight from the horse's mouth. I can't believe this. I trusted him. And he betrayed me like this? Screw that bastard. I know it's hard to hear. I can imagine how hard it must be for you. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate your honesty, even though I wish I didn't have to hear this. I'm sorry, Laurie. I know this must be tough for you. It is, but I won't let him get away with this. He needs to face the consequences of his actions. I agree. He doesn't deserve you or anyone else for that matter. He's a real piece of work. Do you know what's crazy? Instead of being mad at each other, Chantel and I bonded over this whole mess. It was like we found solace in each other's pain and frustration. We both deserved better than this cheating man, and we weren't going to let him ruin our lives. You're a strong woman, Laurie. You deserve better than him. We both do. Yeah, we do. And you know what? I think we should team up and get back at him. Show him that he can't treat women this way and get away with it. I like the sound of that. Let's teach him a lesson he won't forget. Let's do it. We're stronger together, and he's about to find out just how strong we can be. Chantal and I started talking more and more after that, like sisters sharing stories and experiences. It was strange, but I felt this connection with her. We both decided that we needed to get back at Damien for what he had done to us. So together, as we talked about, we hatched a plan to confront him. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was done letting him get away with his lies and deceit. I wanted to stand up for myself and show him that he couldn't treat people like this and get away with it. The next day, after he came home from the gym, I approached him and said, Damien, we need to talk. I know what you've been doing behind my back. Oh? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. I know about you and Chantal. I've caught you staring at other women, and now I find out you've been cheating with her. Instead of being sorry or looking scared, he started smirking, and then he said, So what? Maybe I'll divorce you and marry her instead. We have a connection, unlike what we have. You're unbelievable. Instead of feeling guilty, you're acting like it's no big deal? What's the big deal? We were never right for each other, and Chantal and I have something real. I can't believe I married a monster. You're scum, you know that? Yeah, right, whatever. Oh, don't worry. I'll make sure you regret what you've done. But first, I have someone else I need to talk to. Who? You'll see. I called Chantal, and he had this stupid, confused look on his face. He was in for a treat, I'll tell you that. I put the phone on speaker so that he could hear every single word. Hello? Hi, Chantal, it's Laurie. When Chantal's voice comes through the phone, Damien's face goes pale. He looks like he's seen a ghost, and he starts sweating like crazy. I took a deep breath and say, Thank you, Chantal, for coming forward and telling me all about this. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Laurie. I couldn't let him get away with it. We girls got to stick together. I want to talk to him now. I held the phone closer to Damien, who looks like he was about to have a panic attack. Chantal doesn't waste any time, and she starts berating him like there's no tomorrow. You've got some nerve, Damien, cheating on your wife. What kind of scumbag does that? Chantal, it's not what you think. I can explain. Oh, spare me the excuses. I found your wedding photos, for crying out loud. You lied to me, saying you weren't married. How could you do this? Look, Chantal, I don't know what I was doing. I was confused and didn't know what I wanted. don't start backtracking now, Damien. Didn't you say you had a better connection with Chantal and that you wanted to divorce me to marry her instead? He said that? As if I'd ever marry a cockroach like him. Ouch. Damien looked like he was about to cry. It's just things were complicated between us. Complicated? That's a pathetic excuse. You should have been honest with her from the start instead of leading her on like this. You should have been honest with me. You're crazy, you know that? Hey, don't make me out to be the bad guy in this. I care about both of you, you know? Oh, you care about both of us. That's rich. If you cared about Laurie, you wouldn't have cheated on her in the first place. Look, Chantal, you have every right to be mad, but please don't go public with this. It could ruin my career. Oh, now you're worried about your career. What about the pain you've caused your wife? What about the pain you've caused me? She deserves so much better than you. We deserve better. Come on, Chantal, you're being dramatic. Dramatic? How's this for dramatic? I just sent an email to HR talking about how you were cheating on your wife. Let's see if they'll like the fact that they have a cheater as an employee. What? I also wrote a news article exposing you just so everyone can know how much of a scumbag you are. Are you crazy? You're ruining my life. I'm sorry, Chantal, please. Please take all of that back. It's too late for that now. You should have thought about the consequences before you cheated. So you're just going to ruin my life just like that? No, I'm not going to ruin your life. You did that all by yourself. I'm just making sure the truth comes out. You'll regret this. No, I'm sure I won't. And you know what? I hope Laurie finds happiness without you. She deserves someone better, someone who won't betray her trust. Goodbye, Damien. Don't contact me again, you dirty pig. Good luck finding a job with your crap reputation now. Chantal hung up the phone, leaving Damien stunned and speechless. She's had enough of his lies and betrayal, as anyone would. And now it was my turn. I stood there, anger still coursing through every inch of my body. How could Damien do this to me? After all the love and support I had given him, he repaid me with betrayal. I couldn't hold it in any longer. My voice shook with fury as I unleashed my rage. You disgusting liar! How dare you betray me like this? Laurie, please, let's talk about this calmly. You thought you could get away with cheating on me? Well, you're wrong. You're so wrong. I stormed around the house, my emotions running wild. I couldn't control the anger that was fueling me. I grabbed one of his belongings and smashed it against the wall. This is what you've done to our marriage. You've shattered it into pieces. Laurie, stop. Please, let's talk this through. Talk? Do you think talking will fix this? You've been lying to my face, objectifying women and cheating on me? I'm sorry, Laurie. I made a huge mistake. Oh, you're sorry? That changes everything, doesn't it? I looked him straight in the eye, my anger boiling over. He had always been so charming, but now all I saw was deceit. You know what? I'm going to tell your precious mother about what you've done. No, please don't do that. She'll be devastated. Devastated? Just like I am right now? Damien fell to his knees, his facade crumbling. He was realizing the gravity of his actions and the consequences he was facing. Laurie, I'm so sorry. I'll do anything to make this right. You should have thought about that before you decided to cheat on me. I could see the fear in his eyes grow as he realized just how quickly his life was falling apart, and there wasn't a better feeling I felt at that moment. You don't get to plead for forgiveness now. You made your choice, and now you have to live with the consequences. Please, Laurie, don't do this. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this mess. Then I spat on him. You're pathetic. Get out of my house before I call the police. Of course, he tried pleading again, but I got a knife from the kitchen and threatened to use it on him if he didn't get out. After Damien finally left, I locked the door behind him, not wanting him to come back and disrupt my life any further. I was so done with his lies and manipulations. Unfortunately, he was still causing a ruckus on my lawn. I started packing up all his things, tossing them outside my home without a second thought. He tried to reason with me from the outside, but I wasn't having any of it. The neighbors were looking around, probably wondering what the commotion was all about. Some even took pictures capturing the scene of Damien's belongings scattered on the sidewalk. He angrily told them to mind their own business, but it was too late. He looked like a crazy person, and it was clear to everyone that he had done something horrible to deserve this treatment. Months passed, and the divorce was finally being finalized. I hadn't seen Damien since the day I kicked him out, and to be honest, I didn't care to. As Chantal predicted, he had lost his job and was resorting to staying in motels while drowning his sorrows in alcohol. I had told his mother about his cheating like I said I would, and she was now disgusted with him too. Opting to comfort me and disregard him completely when he tried to reach out to her. She refused to let him stay with her, which only added to his troubles and why he had to hop around from motel to motel. When I saw Damien in the lawyer's office to sign the divorce papers, he looked a mess. It was clear that he was hitting rock bottom. He appeared disheveled like a homeless person who had lost everything. I couldn't help but make a snide remark about Damien's appearance when I saw him in the lawyer's office. He shot me daggers with his eyes, but I didn't care. After everything he had put me through, he deserved a taste of his own medicine. Look who finally decided to show up. You look like you've been living under a bridge, Damien. Cut it out, Laurie. You treated me like crap, and now I've lost everything because of you. Oh, please. You cheated on me, Damien. You lied and made inappropriate comments about other women right in front of my face. I gave you chances to change, but you never did. It wasn't that serious. You're blowing it out of proportion. Blowing it out of proportion? You disrespected me, our marriage, and our vows? You made me feel like I wasn't good enough for you? I had every right to be upset. Laurie, I've been struggling to find a job after that damn article. It's all over the internet, and it's ruining my reputation. Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you cheated on your wife and got involved with Chantal. Actions have consequences, Damien. Please, Laurie, give me another chance. I can change. I'll do anything to make things right. It's too late for that now. You had your chance and you blew it. Sign the papers and give me what I'm owed. Fine, but you'll regret this. I'll get back on my feet, and when I do, you'll see what you lost. I highly doubt that, Damien. Now sign the damn papers and get out of my life. Reluctantly, Damien signed the papers, and then I signed them too. It was finally over, and I felt a sense of relief and closure. But the best part was yet to come. Once the papers were signed, I revealed that I would be getting a huge promotion at work. I knew he would be seething with jealousy, but I didn't care. He wasn't entitled to any of the money since the divorce was finalized. You're just rubbing it in my face now, aren't you? No, Damien, I'm just finally standing up for myself and embracing the opportunities that come my way. You should have treated me better when you had the chance. As he started crying, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. He had hurt me, but I had come out on top. I left the lawyer's office feeling successful and accomplished. I knew I deserved this fresh start, and I was ready to embrace the new opportunities that life had in store for me. It wasn't easy to go through a divorce, but I learned valuable lessons along the way. I had learned to stand up for myself, prioritize my happiness, and never settle for less than I deserved. Get out of my life, Damien, and don't bother trying to come back. You made your bed, now lie in it. As I walked away from that chapter of my life, I felt stronger and more empowered than ever before. I was ready to face the future with confidence and determination. And I knew that I would never let anyone treat me the way Damien did ever again. I don't know where Damien is now. The last I heard of him, he was working as a manager in a bowling alley, as well as working odd jobs here and there. Honestly, he's better off moving to a different state to escape the drama, but knowing him and his dumb ideas, he'll end up squandering his savings and living in poverty. Serves him right, though. As long as I get my alimony, I'm all good, and I don't care what happens to him. I hope this acts as a lesson to all the cheaters out there. Make sure you're ready to lose everything, because some of us are scary, and we'll make sure that you never live properly for the rest of your miserable cheating life. Hello guys, my name's Claire and this is my story. Unfortunately, my piece is about the obnoxious in-laws and husband that I have. I'm still in the process of getting a divorce, but thought of sharing the story with you. If you are constantly getting berated by your in-laws for no reason, this story will give you some nice ideas. Me and my husband, Zane, met through a dating site. I was in college back then and only 19 years old. Zane was 25 and had a pretty stable job for himself. Despite the age difference, me and Zane fell in love with each other. I'm not someone who judges people for their age or appearance. So Zane's age never became a problem for me. Zane did have a lot of issues with the age difference. He kept saying, "Why are you with me, Claire? I just don't understand. I'm so much older than you. You can do much better and get guys your age, you know." "Yes, I can get boys my age, but I don't want them. You are the one I fell in love with. I don't care if you're older than me." There has to be other reasons, Claire. It's not natural for girls like you to love someone like me. I wish you would tell me the truth. I am telling you the truth, Zane. I don't want to date immature boys my age. I am in love with you and I don't care about anything else. Zane never believed my words. I could detect that he had some self-esteem issues and perhaps that's why he was still single. So I was determined to prove myself wrong and show him just how much I love him. Throughout our entire relationship, I never let Zane spend money on me. I was not a broke college student, but didn't have a lot either. Still, I bought him gifts and paid for my meal every time. I had a small job, so it wasn't like I was penniless. I could tell that Zane appreciated those gestures. Sadly for me, Zane never changed. He continued to have a very low self-esteem and refused to believe that I loved him for real. I tried my best to be supportive and understanding. However, his suspicions of my love always broke my heart. For the first 2 years, I had no idea why he had such a low esteem for himself. But when I met his parents, it became very clear. Zane's dad, Michael, was a hard-working guy. However, he once got lucky and won the lottery. That changed his life forever. He bought an expensive house and moved from the rented apartment they lived in. The rest of the money they put in an account so they can be comfortable for the rest of their life. However, there was one problem. Michael and his wife Molly always thought that they were better than everyone else. On our first meeting, he said, "You know, not everyone can make it big like me. I was a hard-working man and look where it got me. Do you know how uncommon it is to win a huge lottery? The chances are very low, but I did it on the first try." We always knew how to make good decisions. Not everyone has those qualities. Look at Zane. I mean, he did complete college and all, but he will never have money like us. He couldn't even get a girlfriend before we won the lottery. I guess most of his partners did have gold-digging personalities. I'm sure they did. They left as soon as we accused them of being greedy. We were right about them. Somehow, Zane still keeps making the wrong choices. Molly and Michael's attitude towards Zane made my blood boil. They directly insinuated that every girl Zane dated was with him for money. Somehow, after years of hearing this, Zane started to believe it as well. At that point, it was clear to me why Zane was so insecure. The fact that Molly and Michael also hinted at me being a gold digger was humiliating for me as well. I decided that I needed to speak up for him and myself. I said, "I am sorry, but I have to disagree with you on that. Zane had worked hard to establish himself at his job. With time, he will become even more successful." "Well, that doesn't change the fact that women only want him for money. The money we have is ours, but Zane does co-own the house. Ultimately, it will be his when we pass. Let me tell you, every time they see our $200,000 house, I swear these girls see dollar signs in their eyes." "I'm not sure about his exes, but I'm not with him for money. I love your son, and that's why we're dating. I want nothing to do with your house." "Don't worry, Claire. Sometimes it's hard to accept that people can be successful and live in nice houses. You only live in a small rented apartment, that too with roommates. After being around our house for a while, you will start wanting it too. It's just about time." I was getting even more furious with what Michael and Molly said. To be honest, I was ready to burst from anger. Zane noticed and heard everything but didn't talk back. He didn't even defend himself. Instead, he simply steered the conversation in another direction. I was a little shocked by his nonchalance, so when we were going home, I decided to confront him. I said, "Zane, your parents are very mean people. They keep insulting both you and me. Why didn't you speak up?" "What did you want me to say, Claire? I'm not sure they are off the mark. Women in the past have used me to try and get some money from my parents. Mostly, they made elaborate plans with the house and how it would be all ours when my parents passed away. Even if they were gold diggers doesn't mean I'm one too. You said nothing when your family insulted me as well." "You know that my family is now well off, so there is a possibility that they're right about everything. I'm not saying you had bad intentions for sure, but I can see why it looks weird. You don't even have parents, so you have to rely on my inheritance alone." "What you are insisting is bizarre, Zane. I have never made you spend money on me. And even if I don't have an inheritance, that doesn't mean you can call me a gold digger." Zane still refused to acknowledge my words. He kept saying that he loves me and it doesn't matter why I'm with him. While most people would be satisfied with this, I wasn't. I didn't want him to think so badly of me. I tried to talk to him and make him understand. I even suggested therapy because I knew he needed it. However, he said there was nothing wrong with him, so I gave up. However, I distanced myself from his family. Years passed and we got engaged right after I graduated from college. I was working a decent job that didn't pay a lot, but well enough. I started to save so that I could contribute money towards our wedding. We split the wedding costs 50-50 and got married when I was 22. However, the next 3 years of my life were hell. Zane constantly went over to his parents' place and then came home in a sour mood. I knew that Michael and Molly were still making fun of him and calling me a gold digger. I tried to convince Zane to go low contact. I knew they were poisoning him against me. But Zane never listened to me. He kept speaking to them and accepting their words that no one can love him. Even after years of loving him and caring for him, he was suspicious of me. Slowly, I was getting exhausted proving myself to him. But I didn't have to do it for much longer. Things came crashing down on Zane's birthday. Since Zane didn't like huge celebrations, we had a small cake party at home just between us. Then I gave him an expensive watch that he had been wanting for a while. Zane was over the moon with the gift. I was so happy for him. But my excitement died down when he suggested going to his parents' house to show them the gift. I accompanied him because he insisted on it. When he reached their house, Zane immediately went to Molly and Michael to show them the gift. He said, "Mom, Dad, look at this beautiful watch that Claire gave me. I've been wanting this for a while now. Isn't this beautiful?" "Oh, did she know, Zane? Looks like she does love you after all. We were pretty worried for a while there." "Don't get so carried away, Michael. She's a gold digger and married our son because we own a $200,000 house. Let's not forget the facts." "Yes, that's right. I almost forgot that the house is the only reason why Claire married Zane." "Excuse me? Why do you think I married your son for your house?" "Well, you were just living in an apartment after working for 4 years. Besides, Zane is so much older than you. Why would you marry him unless you want something from him? I'm sure our house was always an attraction, if not his money." "I married your son because I love him. All your theories about my gold digger personality are bullshit. Zane knows the truth and he will tell you just that, right, Zane?" Well, to my utter astonishment, Zane never said a word. I was already starting to feel weirded out by the fact that my in-laws thought I was a gold digger, but Zane's reaction, or lack of reaction, was extremely shocking for me. He kept his head down and refused to look at me. I decided to press him a little. Honestly, I couldn't believe he wasn't protesting for me. I said, "Zane, why are you not saying anything? Your parents always thought I was a gold digger. How will they know the real me if you don't tell them? Why are you quiet? Tell them they're wrong." I don't know what you want me to say, Claire. I don't know if my parents are off the mark. There might be a possibility that you are after this house." "Are you serious right now? Zane, even you think I married you for your assets?" "He's not wrong to think like that. It is very suspicious that you never tried to buy a house. You don't even talk to him about buying a house. For someone who rents a place, buying a house should have been your priority." "Yeah, it is your priority, but you decided not to work for a house. You saw that our house is an expensive one. You can't afford to buy a place like ours even if you try. So you decided to just marry Zane and settle here." That does make more sense to me. I mean, why will you marry me anyway, Claire? You might have feelings for me, but I think there's more to that than just love. I had no words to say after this. All my love for Zane was devalued into nothing. At the end of the day, my in-laws and even my husband considered me a gold digger. My in-laws' reaction didn't bother me as much as Zane's response. I was devastated. So on the spot, I made a decision. I wanted to file for divorce. I didn't tell them about my decision. I simply waited for the perfect time. So after me and Zane went to our place, I called a lawyer and told him that I wanted to file for divorce. He assured me that the papers would be ready within a week. I also decided to stay in a separate room for the time being. Zane didn't say anything because he thought I was letting off steam. He had no idea what was coming. When the divorce papers finally arrived at my parents' house, I packed my bags and left. When Zane called me in panic, I told him to come to an address and to bring my in-laws. I gave him the address since he had never been to my parents' house. He was confused, but agreed. When they arrived, I was waiting for them on the porch. They looked pretty dumbstruck by the house. I said, "You must be wondering why I brought you here. It's a beautiful house, isn't it?" "Beautiful? No one can even compare their house to this. God, this must cost in millions. This is a mansion." "That's right. It costs around $2 million in today's market. Pretty expensive, but worth the money. There is furniture too, with an added value of millions." "What is this place, Claire? I don't know why you have access to such a house." "Why don't you guys come in so that we can talk? I can't tell you everything on my porch." "What do you mean by your porch?" I ignored them and walked inside. They followed and were even more impressed by what they saw inside. Truly, the owners of the house spared no expense. When they sat down, I said, "I have come to a decision. That's why you're here. I filed for divorce. Here are the papers. We can agree to an uncontested divorce if you want." "What? I don't understand. Why did you file for a divorce?" "Because you and your parents think I'm a gold digger. You guys think I'm after your house, right? I can tell you that's not true, but you won't listen. So I will spare you guys from my gold-digging self and divorce Zane. That will make everyone happy." "You're considering divorce just because my parents told the truth? You're being ridiculous." "Yes, it's not like we said something wrong. Why do you need to do these theatrics?" "I think this is a good thing. Zane, if she's so insistent, you should sign the papers. At least then you'll find someone who loves you." "Why did you bring us to this house? Do you want me to buy you this as part of our divorce settlement?" "Why would I buy this house, Zane? This house is already mine." The shock and disbelief on everyone's face was like a balm to my soul. They looked at me like I was joking. Zane and his family was very unconvinced. He said, "How the hell can you afford a house like this? You stay on rent and don't have a good enough job to afford this. Don't lie to us." "I'm not lying, Zane. Remember how I told you that my parents left me some inheritance? Well, this is the house I talked about. It's under a trust now, but I will get the house once I turn 30. I don't work a good job because I have a trust fund waiting for me." "That's impossible. Your parents died way back. There's no way they didn't let you get the house sooner." "Well, you see, my parents were well aware of the leeches that I might attract, so they told me never to mention the house or trust fund to anyone. Call it experience, but they knew someone could exploit me, so they left everything to trust to keep it safe until I was 30. That way, I would be well settled with someone who I know won't benefit from my inheritance." "Oh my God, Claire! You should have told us that you're rich. We had no idea. Damn, this is a big house you have got. We will all live so comfortably here." "Yeah, you should have told me that sooner. We thought you were after our house. We could have avoided all the misunderstanding." "I knew that Claire was perfect for Zane, see? I have been telling you that she is a great woman. Look how rich she is. Zane really found a great match." Hearing this, I laughed. They changed their stance about me so fast it made my head spin. What's more bizarre was that they soon forgot that I filed for divorce. I took out the divorce papers and gave my signature. Then I said, "As I was saying, here is my signature to an uncontested divorce. You can just sign these to make it easy. If you want to fight, we can take this up to court. I won't live with you anymore." "Claire, listen to me. There's no need to rush this. You've already established that you're not a gold digger. Yeah, there's no reason to get a divorce anymore. We'll even apologize for any misunderstanding. That will make it better, won't it?" Yes, Michael is right. We are sorry, Claire. We doubted you for no reason." "I don't want your fake apologies. Zane, for 2 years you let your family berate me and call me a gold digger. I expected you to at least stand up for me. But no, you just agree with them and call me a gold digger as well. I don't want to stay with someone who doesn't even respect his wife. I'm done with you. We can do this the easy way or get the courts involved. The choice is yours." Zane, Molly, and Michael did their best to change my mind. They kept begging and pleading with me to forget the past. In their mind, what they did was just a simple misunderstanding. Not once did they seem remorseful that they dragged my name through the dirt. Their audacity had my blood boiling. When I finally had enough, I told them to get out before I called the police. My anger scared them off, so they left. In the next few weeks, Zane and my in-laws kept harassing me every day. They begged and pleaded and even offered me bribes to stay. These stupid people thought I would change my mind for money. This notion just showed me that they still thought I was after money. That made me even more enraged. The fun fact is, since Zane co-owned their house with the in-laws, I was also entitled to half of his share. That made them so desperate for reconciliation. I was firm in my decision to split. I moved all my things into my parents' house to live there. I would be alone, and even though I didn't have the ownership yet, I knew that I could stay there anyway. Zane and the in-laws kept reaching out to me until I got a new number entirely. I didn't want them spamming me from unknown numbers. Zane did come to my work to talk, however. The security who was informed about the situation asked him to leave. Zane still hasn't signed the papers, hoping to change my mind. It's been almost a year since I filed for divorce. I only have to go through another year or less before the courts deem it appropriate for us to get divorced. It will happen even if Zane doesn't want to stay. So far, I'm doing pretty well for myself. Since being alone, I've become quite happy and have more money to spend on myself. I'm going out on dates, but not considering anything serious. I heard from a cousin of Zane's that he and my in-laws are dreading buying me out of my entitled share of the house. Apparently, the lawyer fees were adding up and they didn't have much in savings. The cousin believes that they would have to sell the house to bring the money. Zane is also pushing for a sale because he is mad at his parents for ruining his life. I simply don't care anymore and just want to be free from that family. Hey there, I'm Rob and I'm 45 years old. Recently, I got caught up in some drama with my ex-wife and how she has been treating our daughter, and honestly, I had no clue about it. Let me rewind all the way back to how it all began about 20 years ago. Time sure flies. Looking back, it all started around 20 years ago when Marianne and I first met at a bar. I had just achieved my airline transport pilot license and I was celebrating. The moment I laid eyes on Marianne, I was already in love. It was like magic, and I thought she was the one from the get-go. We hit it off instantly, started dating, met each other's families, and everything just fell into place. 2 years later, I was 27, she was 25, when we said, I do. The proposal was for books. It was very private, but it meant a lot to us. I whisked her away on a sweet picnic, and as the day turned to night, we were stargazing with a bottle of wine. That's when I popped the big question, and she said yes. Not long after our marriage, Marianne became pregnant with our first child, Joe, just a month into our marriage. That's when I was already up in the skies as a pilot. I admit I'd been an absent dad for a big part of my life. Marianne took on the role of a stay-at-home mom while I was flying all over the place, doing my pilot thing. Before we got married, flying was something Marianne and I enjoyed together. However, as our family grew, circumstances changed and my absence became more pronounced. My flying schedule limited the time we could spend together, and I regret not being more present during those crucial moments of Joe's upbringing. Back when I had more time before taking on a full-time job, Marianne and I were inseparable. We would go flying together once in a while, cherishing those thrilling moments in the sky, and we had a blast doing other couple stuff as well. But when the job and our son Joe came into the picture, things got a bit tricky. My pilot gig had me away from home way too much, and I knew it was tough on Marianne. Still, whenever I managed to be home, we made it count, man. We'd plan romantic dates, call up a babysitter, and just have a great time together. But looking back, I do regret not being there as much for Joe. Those classic father-son moments, like teaching him to ride a bike or shoot hoops, just slipped through our fingers. Joe was into football, and even attending his football games became a rarity due to my busy work schedule. It seriously bummed him out because football meant a lot to him. But then the heavens smiled upon us and little Dorothea, or Dottie, entered our lives. However, during that time, I could see that Marianne wasn't doing so well emotionally, and I totally understood why. I mean, she was practically a one-woman show raising the kids while I was out flying all over the place. While she was just a tiny tot, I lucked out and managed to switch to part-time work, which gave me more time to spend with Marianne and the kids. Marianne and I patched things up, and it felt like we were reliving our wild 20s all over again. It was a frickin' happy time. During those part-time work years, I soaked up every moment with Dottie, and it was awesome. But I couldn't help but notice that Joe had grown distant from me. I chalked it up to the typical teenage hormones and didn't dwell on it too much. Then came the time when I needed to go back to full-time work, mainly because I was the sole earner in the family. With the kids getting older, I wanted to support them, especially Joe, who would be heading to college soon. I felt a strong urge to compensate for the times I couldn't be there for him, and one way I thought of doing that was by helping out with his college tuition. Little did I know that this time, when I left for work, things wouldn't be the same when I got back home. I had just gotten home from a long flight, taken a refreshing shower, and had dinner with the kids. Then Marianne and I headed upstairs after wishing the little ones good night, and that's when she dropped a bombshell on me. I want a divorce. Whoa! That came out of nowhere. Really, Rob? It's been 17 years. I do not even recognize you anymore. I don't know the book on your nightstand. It used to be our thing, right? We hardly talk. The person I knew seems to have vanished. Every time you come home, I welcome you with open arms, but all you do is talk about your flights. I listen and then I tell you about the kids. It's like we've lost the us in all of this. I feel like I'm just a bored housewife now. If it's all in my head, tell me now. Tell me if I'm wrong. No, you're not wrong. I've let things slip, and I'm sorry for not being the person I promised to be. It's not your fault, but I can't keep holding back anymore. I haven't found someone new, but I won't lie. I thought about it. I've been trying to keep things together for the sake of the kids, but I can't do it anymore. I understand. I'm sorry, Marianne. If you want the divorce to happen, I won't stand in your way. After the separation, Marianne and I agreed that joint custody would be best for the kids, and it made sense for them to live with her since she knew them better. I was like a stranger in their lives. Surprisingly, the divorce didn't hit me as hard as I thought. Don't get me wrong, I was devastated, but I guess being away all the time had already killed the love between us. I still had respect for Marianne, though. After all, she's the mother of my kids, and I miss those little munchkins like crazy. Marianne and I completely lost touch after the divorce. Our only communication was about child support. I relied on the kids to fill me in on how things are going with her and how they were managing at their grandparents' place. I felt bad for them, honestly. I even offered to help Marianne find a place to rent, but she turned it down. Eventually, during one of their visits, the kids dropped the bombshell that they had moved in with Marianne's new boyfriend, Matthew. I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later, but I just hoped the guy treated Marianne and the kids well. I wanted to talk to her about it, but she wouldn't respond when I brought it up. The weird thing was the kids became really quiet ever since they moved in with him. It was kind of off-putting, but I didn't think much of it until Joe left for college. I helped him out with college tuition, and he was grateful for that. With Joe gone, I had to pick up Dottie from Marianne's new place, or rather her new boyfriend Matthew's place, and let me tell you, that dude gave me a sketchy vibe. The first time I saw where they lived, I was like, whoa. No judgment or anything, but it wasn't the best place, and I couldn't believe Marianne went for a guy like that. When I went to pick up Dottie, Marianne opened the door. Seeing her after so long was like a blast from the past. She looked different, all troubled and stuff. She was wearing a robe, looking pale and skinny, and, no offense, kind of old. Something seemed off. Hey, how's it going? I'm okay. Yeah, cool. So this is Matthew's place? Yep. I've been seeing him for a while now. Dorothea, can you hurry up and leave already? That is when I heard Matthew calling out for Dottie, and it felt like he was screaming at her. I did not like the dude for talking to my daughter like that. It just did not sit right with me, and with all of Marianne's short replies, something definitely seemed off. She had never been this quiet in her life. It was like she had lost her spark. She looked tired even more when she was with me. It made me wonder what was going on in her life and if everything was okay. I took Dottie with me and we had an awesome evening. We watched her favorite movie, The Princess Diaries, for like the 10th time while munching on Takis, but hey, I was not complaining. I was just so happy to be spending time with my daughter. For dinner, we ordered pizza and then we indulged in Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream for dessert. During our little dinner chat, I tried to get to know more about this Matthew character. So, does Matthew treat your mother right? Yeah. Well, is he nice to you? Yeah. That's good, kiddo. You know, you can always tell me if you have any problems. Your daddy's always here to protect you no matter what. Okay, Dad. Then I asked her about school. How's school going? I don't want to lie to you, and I need to come clean about something. I don't go to school anymore. Mom told me to keep it a secret from you. She pulled me out of school and said I could continue next year. Dad, please don't tell Mom that I told you. You don't understand. It would just get me into bigger trouble. Are you in trouble, sweetheart? Is everything okay? Yeah, I mean, everything's fine, but please just don't tell Mom. Dottie, I really need to understand why your mom would keep this from me. Not going to school and taking a gap year is a big deal. I'm really worried about you and I want to make sure everything's okay. I know, Dad, but Mom said she's handling everything and she didn't want you to get involved. I was taken aback by the whole situation. I could not wrap my head around what was happening with Marianne. Even though I promised Dottie not to say anything, I needed to understand why she wasn't sending her to school. Dottie was on the verge of starting middle school, and missing out on those crucial years felt really concerning to me. I mean, I'm providing financial support, so what could be the reason holding Marianne back? Initially, I thought about asking Joe for some insights, but I didn't want to burden him with our family issues. He has his own life now, and I didn't want to disturb that. With a couple of flights lined up for the week, I decided to wait until I got back to talk to Marianne about it. I asked Dottie to go to bed early and dropped her off at Matthew's place the next day before heading to the airport. A few days later, I finally landed my flight for the week and had the weekend off. It had been ages since I had a weekend to myself, and I was stoked about it. When I got home, my phone started ringing, and guess who it was? Marianne. But when I picked up, it was Dottie on the line. Hey, Dad. Hey, baby girl, what's up? Is everything fine? Why are you calling from your mom's phone? Yeah, Dad, please send $3,000 for new school books. Wait a minute, didn't we talk about school yesterday? You told me Mom pulled you out of school. Marianne took over the phone. Dorothea needs money for some new books. It's $3,000. I knew Marianne wasn't sending Dottie to school. Feeling exhausted and frustrated, the fact that Marianne would hide something like this from me and then lie to my face made me snap. I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. What's the money really for, Marianne? I've been sending you child support all this time, and now I find out Dottie isn't even going to school? What's happening here? Where is all the money going? Oh my God, I'm just going to talk to you later. And then she just hung up the phone on me. I kept calling, but no one answered. It was way too late at night, and I was dead tired. I still had to pick up Dottie for the weekend, though, so I decided to tackle the conversation the next day. I couldn't help but feel mad and suspicious, though. What on earth was Marianne hiding from me? I only wanted what was best for my daughter's education, and it was bugging me big time. Wondering where all the money I had been sending her had gone. It was around 1 in the morning when the phone started ringing. I picked it up, and to my surprise, it was Dottie. She was crying, and I immediately got worried. What had happened to make her so upset? "Dad, can you come pick me up, please?" "Are you okay? What is going on? Where's your mom? Where's Matthew?" "Mom doesn't know I'm talking to you. She's probably sleeping in her bedroom with Matthew right now. Just be here and call me when you're outside." "Don't worry, I'm coming." I could sense the fear and distress in Dottie's voice, and my heart sank. I told her to stay put, and I dashed out to pick her up, my mind racing with all sorts of worries about what was happening. I drove like a maniac to their place, not wasting any time. I called Dottie, and she tiptoed out the door like a ninja. This meant that Marianne had no idea that I was here. I gave Dottie a big hug as soon as she got into my car, and we didn't talk at all during the drive back home. Once we got home, I got her settled on the couch and told her to make herself comfortable. I grabbed her a glass of water, trying to ease the nerves and worry that she must have been feeling. "Sweetie, you've got to be honest with me if you want me to help you out here." "Okay, Dad." "When Mom and Matthew found out that I told you about them pulling me out of school, they went ballistic. Mom started chucking stuff at me." "What? She threw things at you?" "Yeah, it was like a crazy storm in there. And Matthew was yelling at me, saying all these awful things, like I'm worthless and should just disappear." "What? Your mom has completely lost it." "Mom said we're having some money problems and things are going downhill fast at home." "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "We've been scraping by, Dad. It's been rough. We're having cereal for dinner." "How long has this been going on for?" "Joe never mentioned any of this to me." "Since Joe left for college." I couldn't believe what my daughter was telling me at first. It was just so hard to wrap my head around the idea that Marianne, I knew, who had always been a good mom, could do something like this. Joe never complained about her, and yeah, she could be strict, but never abusive. But here's Dottie claiming that Marianne slapped her and threw stuff at her, while that dude Matthew was spewing nasty, hurtful words at her like she was some piece of trash. My blood was boiling with anger and worry for my little girl. After putting Dottie to bed, I poured myself a drink and sat down feeling terrible. It hit me hard, thinking it was all my fault. If only I had been there for my wife and kids right from the start, maybe things wouldn't have turned out like this. Marianne had apparently gone off the rails, and now my kids were suffering because of it. It broke my heart to think they might carry trauma from all this. Hearing what Dottie went through that day made me wonder what else Joe had kept hidden from me. I had so many questions swirling in my head. Why was Marianne acting like this? What caused her to change into someone unrecognizable? Had my absence turned Marianne into a monster? The next day, I asked Dorothea to stay home and headed over to Marianne and Matthew's place. I was so furious that I feared I might actually punch that guy for what he said to my daughter. I knocked on their door, and Matthew answered. "We were expecting you. Where did you take Dorothea?" "She's my daughter, and it's none of your business where she is. Where's Marianne?" I stepped inside the house. Marianne was there, sitting on the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. I was so puzzled, I just needed the truth at this point. "Oh my God, just start talking, Marianne. Why have you been behaving this way? You laid a hand on our daughter. Where has all the money been going? And you, Matthew? I've heard stuff about you too. How dare you?" Marianne had known me for a long time, and she knew I didn't lose my temper easily, but when I did, it wasn't any good for anyone. "Rob, I'm so sorry. I messed up big time. You see, Matthew's in serious debt and he owes a lot of money to someone. Initially, we used to take a chunk out of the child support checks you sent to pay off the debt collectors. But recently, they've been breathing down our necks, demanding the full amount, so we had no choice but to send it all to them. And I love Matthew. I was just trying to protect him. That's why I made Dottie take a gap year. You didn't care about our daughter, did you? All you cared about was protecting Matthew, someone who clearly doesn't deserve any of it. You put him above your own child, and for what? Do you realize what you've done? I'm sorry. You know, Matthew, I've tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I can't ignore the truth any longer. You're nothing but a loser. You're a grown man living off my child support money, and for what? What do you even do all day? I'm working on some things, all right? Working on what? Scamming people and leeching off my ex-wife? Is that your grand plan? Look, it's not as simple as you think. It's pretty simple, actually. You're a deadbeat, living off someone else's hard work. You can't even provide for yourself, let alone Marianne. And Marianne, you will be hearing from my lawyer soon. When I got back home, I knew I had to dig deep and find out if Joe was holding anything back. I hadn't been the perfect dad, but now it was my chance to step up and be there for them. I could tell my kids felt let down by their mom's actions, so I had a heart-to-heart with Joe. Marianne had been nagging him verbally, but at least he didn't face any physical abuse. That gave me more reason to take action and protect my kids. I consulted my lawyer, and together we took the matter to the authorities, shedding light on the abuse and neglect my children had endured. And guess what? I finally won the legal battle and got full custody of my kids. Marianne tried to beg her way out of it, but the court wasn't buying it. She lost custody and visitation rights. As for Matthew, my gut feeling about him was right. It turned out he had a criminal record for breaking and entering, leading to his imprisonment for a year. I've retired from flying and moved into a role in management and mentorship, all with the sole purpose of being there for my daughter and son this time. I want to make up for lost time and create a loving and supportive environment for them. My kids are my priority, and I'll do whatever it takes to give them a safe and loving home. I want them to know that they can count on their dad, and I'll never let them down again. We got a long road to heal, but I'm going to be the best dad I can be. Hello, my name's Bianca, mother of 2 children and an ardent social worker. I currently live with my mother in Ohio. I run a small organization that provides to terminally ill children, whether it's taking them to an amusement park or a museum. I try to make their days a little less scary. My mother takes care of my children. They're going to a new school. I know these new adjustments bring a lot of new changes, but we are managing quite well. My life wasn't entirely like this. I was terribly heartbroken, and the healing took its time. It took me years to come out of the fact that I was betrayed multiple times by the same person. I met my ex-husband, Victor, when I was on a girls' trip to Rome, Italy. We were clubbing late at night when this random man approached me. Bella Serrata, isn't it? See, it's a beautiful night. Do you come here often? No, actually, it's my first time in Italy. I wanted to experience the nightlife, and I must say, it doesn't disappoint. Well, you've chosen the right place. Roma is known for its vibrant energy. So what brings you here, business or pleasure? Well, I would say a mix of curiosity and wanderlust, I suppose. I've always been fascinated by Italian culture and history. And what about you, Bianca? Are you a regular in this scene? I enjoy going out occasionally. It's a great way to unwind after a long day. But tonight, I am celebrating a friend's birthday. How about you? Are you here alone? Yes, solo traveler exploring the world. I find it liberating to discover new places on my own terms. Well, you seem to be doing just fine. Rome has a way of capturing hearts, whether you're alone or with company. So it seems. But I have to admit, meeting someone as lovely as you adds an extra touch of magic to the experience. You're quite the charmer, Victor. I appreciate the compliment. So tell me, what else have you discovered during your time in Rome? Oh, where do I start? The Colosseum, Vatican City, the Sistine Chapel. I've been soaking in history, the art, and the cuisine. Every corner of this city has a story to tell. You're absolutely right. It's a city filled with treasures and tales. If you have time, I'd be more than happy to show you some hidden gems that tourists often miss. I'd be honored, Bianca. Exploring Rome with a local would be a dream come true. We clink glasses together, sealing our new connection amidst the vibrant ambience of the club. He then proposed a friendly dance. The music was wild and I was young and flattered, so I agreed to his proposal. We danced away like crazy as if we didn't care less about the world. We were a couple of drinks down. He was really attractive back then, and attractive people can bring a lot of baggage. As the vibrant music filled the air and the club in Italy pulsed with energy and life, it was a night like any other, and I found myself dancing and enjoying the moment, surrounded by the rhythm and excitement that coursed through the crowd. Little did I know that this evening would be the beginning of a captivating and unexpected journey. It was as if the world around us faded into the background, leaving only the two of us in that electrifying moment. We moved together in perfect harmony, our bodies swaying to the rhythm of the music. The chemistry between us was palpable, growing with each twirl and dip on the dance floor. It felt as though time stood still, and in that enchanted bubble, we were the only ones that mattered. But just as our connection intensified, a woman appeared out of nowhere, clinging to Victor. Panic flashed across his face, and he glanced at me with a mix of confusion and worry. In that split second, I saw the uncertainty in his eyes, and my heart skipped a beat. Who is she? Who are you? Oh, please, ladies, relax. Let me introduce you to. This is my friend, Bianca. Bianca, meet Louise. She's my tour guide. She's been taking care of me. Thank you, Victor. That was really kind of you. But, baby, we must head back. You know we have to get up early morning. Baby? Victor, just give us a moment, Bianca. We have to talk about tomorrow's schedule. I still have a few days left to be here, so I planned an elaborate tour guide just for myself. I'll come back to you. Stay still. Don't you dare go anywhere. He held me by the waist and planted a kiss on my cheek. As I watched their interaction unfold, I felt a wave of emotions crash over me. Doubt and insecurity threatened to overshadow the joy and attraction I had felt just moments ago. Who was this woman? And what did her sudden appearance mean for the budding connection between Victor and me? I mean, I get it, she was the tour guide, but which tour guide calls you baby? I was really done with this shit. I looked for my friends who were hanging by the pool. They were all really buzzed except Emily. She was always the sober one in the group. She got up and approached me. I dropped myself on the comfy beanbag that was placed next to the pool. So, how was it? Well, let's just say it was an interesting experience. Victor turned out to be quite the Casanova. What? No way. He seemed like such a genuine guy when he approached you at the club. What happened? At first, everything was perfect. He was charming, attentive, and full of stories about his travels. Then, we went for a bit of dancing. It was going so well, you won't believe how I was swooning at his moves and so on. But then a girl comes out of nowhere and clings to his shirt, calling him baby and stuff like that. Ouch! The worst kind then. He didn't look like he was fazed at all by it. He excused himself and started chatting with her instead. I stood there for 7 minutes, then it started to feel embarrassing, so I left. Oh no, Bianca, I'm so sorry. That must have been disappointing and hurtful. Did you not feel like confronting him? I did, but I couldn't muster the courage to do so. He was attractive. I was just another pawn in his game, LOL. And here I thought chivalry still exists. My friends and I decided to leave the club. It was getting late and there was no point dilly-dallying any longer. Half of them were sloshed already. I called for a cab while Emily and one of the waitresses took hold of my drunk friends. Wow, quite a sight that was. We reached our hotel, and after putting all my friends in our respective rooms, Emily and I decided to take another martini before going to bed. The reception was busy, so I had to go fetch the drinks. We also had some pizza ordered along with some Italian cioccola. I was almost forgetting about the guy I encountered at the party until I reached into my pockets. I found a note. It was written, "If whatever magic we had back there was true, then meet me tomorrow afternoon in front of the statue that depicts the birth of Rome." Oh my God. Emily, look. When did he slide this in? Gosh, that creep. How clique. Such a stereotypical Casanova move. Charming young man planting a lover's note in the naive girl's pocket. Jeez, I'm too drunk for this shit. Oh, hush, Emily. You're ruining its charm. I bet he did that when he planted that kiss on my cheek. That was kind of smooth. Not gonna lie. Please tell me you're not considering actually meeting him, are you? I mean, I don't mind giving him a second chance. These second chances are the worst. I never really trusted them. There was this guy back in Florida I used to really like, but he turned out to be a total douchebag as well. But my heart was a mess. I wanted him so bad, I gave him a second chance. Guess what, Bianca? It got messier. Jeez, girl, relax. I promised that this would be a harmless second chance. Now help me break the riddle. I was supposed to meet him in front of the Capitoline Wolf, one of the greatest symbols of Rome. From the moment our eyes met in the bustling streets of Rome, Victor and I embarked on a journey that would forever change our lives. The magic of the city infused our hearts, and love bloomed amidst the cobblestone streets and ancient ruins. As our relationship deepened, we discovered a profound connection that went beyond mere attraction. We shared dreams, hopes, and ambitions, supporting each other through the triumphs and trials of life. With time, our love grew stronger, and we knew we were meant to build a future together. We celebrated each other's successes and lifted each other up. Vicky was my biggest cheerleader, always pushing me to chase my dreams and encouraging me to believe in my own strength. Likewise, I stood by Vicky's side, supporting his endeavors and providing a safe harbor when life's storms raged around us. Together we explored the world with wide-eyed wonder. We embarked on countless adventures, embracing the joy of discovering new places and cultures. Whether we were strolling through ancient streets, gazing at breathtaking landscapes, or simply enjoying the simple moments of togetherness, every experience was enriched by our love for one another. I was head over heels for Victor. He was my type of guy. My type of red flag, that is. Baby, I was looking through some venues. You want to check it with me? Just a second. The noodles are on the stove. I was living with Victor at the time. He had a cozy house back in Michigan. He was the one who invited me to stay with him. Ran a small business, something to do with travel and tourism. He would leave around 11 a.m. and return by 7. I used to work from home, mostly in customer service. My shift was almost the same as his. After work, we would either go for a drive or a small walk. So, what have you decided? Noticed anything you like? I was thinking, how about the same place where we met, in Rome? What? Are you serious? Wouldn't that be too expensive? I mean, the venue, the decorations, invitations, food. Nah, don't worry about it, love. I spoke to one of my rich clients from Italy. He said he would do all the arrangements at a lot less price. Interesting acquaintances. How do you even manage to make such alliances? I should totally learn from you. That's my secret. But you are a special one, so I don't mind. Want to know? Absolutely. Tell me. Well, I use a lot of what? My sexy charm. Screw you, so full of yourself. In the picturesque setting of Rome, surrounded by loved ones, we exchanged vows and committed our lives to one another. The joy and excitement on that day were immeasurable as we embarked on the adventure of marriage hand in hand. We were ready to face the world as a team, navigating the highs and lows with unwavering support. But like many others, I too realized some men change a lot after marriage. Maybe the spark of romanticism fades and we fall into a cycle of monotony and ambiguity. A few years, things were going all right. We had our regular work and free time. Victor grew busier. He would take me to parties and clubbing, but sometimes he would go alone with his friends. After I got pregnant with our first child, things started to change for the worse. Victor would be a bit neglectful towards me. I mean, sometimes he would be the sweetest person and I would melt. He probably started to think I got bored or something because I don't go out with him to fancy parties and crowded pubs anymore. Babe, is something the matter? I feel like you're really upset about something and not telling me. Why do you ask? It's the vibe I'm catching. You usually aren't this quiet. I mean, you are the definition of an extrovert. Right. Please, babe, tell me. You will feel a whole lot lighter, and you only said that communication should be our greatest mantra. Yeah, I know. I do want to know one thing. You are still you, right? What do you mean, I'm still me? I don't understand. What did I do to turn you off? I think the baby thingy could have waited. Maybe if we would have given us a bit more time. What the hell do you mean by that? It's been 2 years. I know, but I miss the old us. We used to hang out and go on small travels and adventurous dates. Remember our trip to Africa, babe? The wildest of experiences. Ah, how I long to go back amongst the serene wildlife and sweet forest liqueur. Then why don't you? What? Is a pregnant wife making her husband feel trapped? Oh, babe, why are you making it sound like that? Did I say that? You just twisted my entire explanation. Jesus. I was just saying that we could have waited a little more before getting into parenthood. So, is it my fault, babe? You wanted a baby, remember? We were on a date when you pointed at a child saying you wanted one of those. Then I laughed, and you got all pouty because I wasn't taking you seriously. His phone rang. He excused himself, saying it was his mother, and went to the other room. I sat there in silence. What just happened? Did we just fight? This was our very first argument. In the following years, we became parents of 2 beautiful girls. Victor loved spending time with them, taking them for a drive, sometimes to parties. When I strongly objected, he would get angry. He also didn't like too much crying and whining. He would always excuse himself if his daughters were having a tantrum. He just wanted the cream of the hard work, not the hard work itself. I shifted my job from home to an office space. I was getting paid more. Victor would often leave for business trips. He started to dress more handsomely, which was nothing to be concerned about, but I couldn't help but feel insecure. How are the kids, Bob? They're fine, Mom. Growing up really fast. Georgie throws a lot less tantrums these days. Oh, my lovelies, when will you all visit me again? It's been over a year now. How is that wretched son-in-law of mine? You are not wrong about that. Well, he's on a business trip to Goa. Where is that? Sounds like something Caribbean. Nope, it's a part of India. Oh, damn, I always wanted to visit that place with your dad. If only he didn't reach his expiration date. Jeez, Mom, your jokes are becoming horribly dark these days. Oh, you know how I find refuge in dark humor. You get to laugh more than you get to cry. You should slowly resort to that too. As the days passed by, I couldn't help but notice a change in Victor, my so-called loving husband. His once warm and trusting demeanor had given way to suspicion and unease. It was as if a shadow had cast itself over our relationship, leaving me bewildered and longing to understand the source of his growing distrust. At first, I dismissed it as mere stress from work or external factors taking a toll on his emotions. But as the subtle signs persisted, I realized that there was something deeper at play. The lingering glances, the guarded conversations, and the moments of distance between us became increasingly difficult to ignore. One evening, as we sat together in the quiet sanctuary of our home, I mustered the courage to address the elephant in the room. With a gentle touch, I took his hand in mine, my eyes searching his for answers. I have been noticing a lot of things lately. I just wanted to clarify if it is something I should be concerned about. What is it now? The frequent calls, Victor. Who is it? There was a mixture of vulnerability and concern in his gaze, a flicker of fear betraying the walls he had built around himself. Look, babe, I care about you and trust you. Just assure me that it's nothing concerning. Care about me? You call that caring? It feels more like you're prying into my personal life. I'm sorry if it came across that way, Victor. I didn't mean to invade your privacy. But when I saw you keeping everything to yourself, I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Well, sometimes I need to handle things on my own. I don't always need you jumping in trying to fix everything. Years went by, and our relationship was concretely built on a cloud of secrecy. Victor refused to talk to me. He even grew distant from our children. I became very aloof and introverted. His extroversion increased. He would go to parties and sometimes not come back. His phone calls were even more frequent and sometimes argumentative. It was until the day it revealed itself. Victor's face was filled with panic, his eyes darting around the room. He pleaded with me to pack our things and run away with the children, claiming that his mother was coming home to exact an old revenge. But at that moment, something within me shifted. I knew who it was, and for some reason I was waiting for this to happen. Emily informed me long back. You know, it really saddens me that I had to be the one to give my best friend the news. It is about Victor, isn't it? What has he been doing? Well, she revealed that Victor has been taking drugs, partying and sleeping with other women. One of them was incredibly in love with him. She got pregnant and Victor left her right after that. She was in a total mess. Her name is Leslie. She was Victor's favorite mistress. He would often go to a love hotel where they both would sleep multiple times. Emily found her at a club, crying profusely. She was 2 drinks down. Emily just wanted to small talk. Little did she know it would end up in this drama. We decided to invite her to the charade. After all, that sneaky bastard needed a lesson. With a mixture of determination and pain, I looked into Victor's eyes, and in a voice filled with both defiance and sorrow, I responded. She's already here, Victor, and it's not your mother who should be running away now. What? What do you mean? It is Leslie, isn't it? Wait, how do you... Because your boring wife can be extremely intelligent sometimes. She has her ways. Babe, look, I can explain. Oh, you don't have to. I slapped him hard across his face. I went ahead and grappled him by his neck and threw him off. I was so tempted to hurt him more the way he hurt me, but I controlled myself. Leslie entered the room with her friend. They packed on a couple of blows at him. It was so satisfying to watch. The famous warning, once a Casanova, always a Casanova, earned its rightful position in my heart. I joyously trashed his entire house, breaking all his valuables, turned it into a freaking rage room. I swear. He just wanted me as his trophy wife, someone he could show off to his friends. Once I became boring, he lost his interest. He did that with other girls too. Leslie and I knew what to do. He would be paying for both of our child support. We planned to make him penniless. We were in the process. It would take some time, but I wasn't going to leave him for what he had done. My children shifted to their grandmas. I decided to stay back so that I could complete the legal work before finally settling with my mother and kids. We would connect to 2 other girls who equally hated him. He was nothing but a puny little mouse in our trap. After a few months of going to and fro to court, it was finally settled. Today, I stand tall and proud. The pain and heartbreak of that fateful revelation have shaped me into a woman of resilience and unwavering strength. I have emerged from the ashes a survivor of betrayal, ready to embrace life's challenges and bask in the love and happiness I truly deserve. In the end, I found solace in knowing that the one who should have been running away was never me. It was the darkness of deceit and betrayal that Victor and his mistress had chosen to embrace. And with every step forward, I reclaimed my own power, determined to forge a future built on my terms, with an unwavering commitment to my own happiness and well-being. Hi, I'm Ava. A few years ago, I was an ordinary housewife searching for fulfillment from the monotony of my daily routine. Yet deep inside my heart, there burned a desire to open a bakery. This dream consumed my every thought, adding a sense of purpose to my life that drove me forward, so I decided to talk to my husband about it. Robert, I was thinking about starting a baking business. A bakery? Are you serious? You do not have any experience or skills for that. It's just a silly fantasy. But I have a passion for baking and I want to earn and support you. What is the point, Ava? You're just wasting your time with these silly dreams of yours. I know it may seem like a long shot, and I believe in myself. I want to create something special, something that brings joy to others. Joy? Don't you see the reality? We have bills to pay and responsibilities to fulfill. Your little bakery will not bring in any money. It's a waste of time and resources. I want to believe in myself and what I can accomplish. I don't want to live a life full of regrets, wondering what could have been. Fine, Ava. Do whatever you want, but don't come crying to me when it all falls apart. I will not support this foolishness. I didn't get demotivated by Robert's words. I saved up some money and started baking for friends. Robert, guess what? I saved up some money and started a home baking business. Oh, a home baking business? I told you it's a waste of time. Well, I know it is challenging, but I am trying my best. Trying your best, Ava? Let us be realistic. There is no way you can compete with established brands and shops. It is just a hobby, not a real business. It is more than just a hobby to me, Robert. I am motivated to make it work. Motivated? Ava, you need to face reality. Your small business is going nowhere. You are just wasting your time and energy. Your business schedule is affecting our relationship. You are always so caught up in your baking that you do not have time for anything else. I'm sorry if it feels that way, but I am doing my best to balance everything. This business means a lot to me, and I hope you can understand and support me instead of criticizing me. It is just frustrating to see you so consumed by something that does not seem to be going anywhere. Honestly, my business was going nowhere, but I believed in the potential inside me and continued to work hard. Even the friends who tasted my food said it was delicious. I just need some marketing. I remained positive. Maybe Robert's criticism would turn into respect once I start making a profit. But unfortunately, something terrible happened to me. On that day, Robert did not come back home. I tried calling him, but he did not answer. I thought he might be busy with work at the office. The next day, he called me. Ava, start packing your bags. Hey, bags? Are you going somewhere? Not both of us, just you. Me? Where? Out of my house. I don't understand. What is this silly joke? Come home and we can talk. It is not a joke. I'm going to marry Mia and I want her to live here. So before she comes, I want you to leave the house. I couldn't process the news. I stood there frozen. Eventually, I regained my senses and gathered the strength to speak. What? But before I could finish asking my question, he had already hung up the phone. I felt confused and sad. I fell on the floor, feeling very overwhelmed by everything that was happening. While I was lost in my thoughts, I suddenly woke up when I heard the doorbell ringing. I quickly went to the door, eager to find out who it was. When I opened it, I saw my little sister, Mia, and my husband, Robert. It was a surprise because Mia and I hadn't been in touch, and I never expected her to betray me like this. There they stood, with Mia dressed in white and holding hands with my husband. "Have you not left yet?" "Why would you do this to me? If there was a problem, you should have talked to me. Why did you betray me like this, Robert? What did I lack that you had to turn to another woman?" "You have nothing. You are just a housewife who does not even know how to make me happy. Look at Mia. So beautiful and perfect. She makes me happy. You're always busy with household chores or your silly bakery." "Busy? Who do I do everything for? You and our home, right?" "Well, that doesn't matter now. We're married and it is time for you to leave my house. Either you go on your own or I will push you out." Mia smirked and I became furious. "What is so funny? You're my little sister. Why would you do this to me?" "Your sister? Oh, please. I have a higher class, unlike you. My new husband is wealthy and I can keep him happy. So you should leave our house. We have to host a wedding party this evening, so you better go." For the past 2 years, I had been trying so hard to make my marriage work and to please Robert. But nothing worked and I felt angry at myself. Mia made me feel like I was not enough. There was nothing left for me in that house. Yes, legally it was in Robert's name, but I had put so much effort into making every corner of that home perfect. And within a few minutes, everything shattered before my eyes. Blaming my destiny, I walked out of that place. Suddenly, while I was walking, someone pulled me to the side. It was a woman. I looked at her, surprised and angry. "What? Rose? Can't you see you were walking in the middle of the road? You could have been hit by a car." Rose was my friend from childhood. We met after so many years, and that too in such a situation. She almost shouted at me and I snapped back to my senses. I had been walking on the road without paying attention, lost in my thoughts. I felt a chill thinking about what would have happened if that car had hit me. "Are you even listening to me? What's wrong with you?" "Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, Rose." "Huh. It is okay. Do you need any help? Where are you going? I can drop you off." Where was I going? I did not have any close friends in the city. My parents lived far away and I did not want to trouble them. Robert was my everything. I felt ashamed of myself. "Actually, I don't know where to go." "What?" "Never mind. Can we at least go to the restaurant? I'm super hungry. Are you?" And then I realized, yes, I was hungry, but I had left home without any money. What was I going to do for food and living? I had no work experience, so who would hire me? "I'm sorry, I do not have any money right now." "Oh, that's fine. Just come with me. Don't worry, we're friends." "Okay." I went to a restaurant with her. It was beautiful and looked expensive. The chandelier hanging in the center caught my attention. "Hey, what brings you here? I thought you were in Australia." "Yes, I was studying there. After completing my degree, I came here for work." "Rose, you don't have to go through all this trouble for me. It looks expensive." "Hey, it's okay. I'll take care of the lunch." We got interrupted as the food arrived. It looked delicious. Soup, Caesar salad, and barbecue chicken burger. I was hungry, so I started eating without waiting for Rose. "Did you like the food?" "Yes, it's nice, but the burger buns could have been better." "Really?" "Our buns and pizzas are very famous." Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. The food is good, but there's room for improvement. The buns could be crispier and better baked. The soup could have more seasoning. You are talking like a chef. Oh, no. I'm just a stay-at-home wife. Well, I used to be. Anyway, I bake a lot and even started a baking business, but it's not going anywhere. Oh, you have so much knowledge. Why don't you try working at restaurants? I'm not qualified for that. Not every restaurant requires qualifications. You seem experienced, and that's enough. I can tell something really bad has happened to you. Would you like to share it with me? Rose looked concerned and helpful, and I wanted to share everything with someone. I explained everything to her. That is terrible. What kind of man is he? We can sue him legally. I'll help you. Hey, no, I don't want to do anything, and I don't need anything from him. What is the use if there's no love left? Let him live peacefully. You are so kind-hearted, Ava. He did wrong to you, and he will pay for his actions. But until then, focus on yourself. You have so much potential. Try going out and getting a job. Even I need to become independent. Do you have any references here? I can start from here. Oh, sure. I'll book you an appointment with the owner. That would be so helpful. Are you in the management department? Yes, you can say that. Rose paid the bill and we left the restaurant. I had found new hope. So where will you go now? Actually, I don't know. I'll call some of my friends and find a temporary place. I am your friend, right? Why don't you come with me? Are you sure? You've already done so much for me. No problem, dear. Stay with me until you find a permanent place. Thank you so much. I moved in with Rose. Her home was beautiful with a big library full of business books. I lay on the bed thinking about Robert and Mia's wedding party. I was deeply in love with Robert and it wasn't easy to move on, but I decided to trust myself and give it a try. The next morning, I got ready using Rose's office clothes. I looked at myself in the mirror and kept staring. I looked smart. I wasn't used to this look. I usually dressed simply, always wearing an apron and smelling like tomatoes. Maybe that's why Robert left me. My thoughts were interrupted by Rose. You look smart. Thank you. Are you ready for the interview? Yes, hoping for the best. Good. I'll drive you to the restaurant. We arrived at the restaurant. Rose told me where to go and she went to a meeting. I went to the waiting area feeling so nervous. After all, it was my first job interview. I gathered my courage and stepped inside. When I opened the door, I was surprised. It was Rose. Rose? Sorry, can I come in? Hey, Ava, you don't have to be formal. Come in. Hey, Ava, you don't have to be formal. Come and sit. I sat in front of her. She was the owner of the restaurant. The previous day, I criticized her restaurant's food. I felt ashamed. Sorry, Ava, this is kind of a surprise for you, but yesterday I did not want to overwhelm you. Oh, I understand. Shall we start the interview then? I judged you enough yesterday, and you are the best candidate for me. But the head chef wants you to work in the kitchen today, and we will let you know tomorrow about the job role and the rest of the formalities. Thank you so much, Rose. No need, Ava. Do your best in the kitchen. I went into the kitchen. It was an amazing place. I had only seen such a place in movies or cooking shows. I never thought I would get a chance to visit such a place. I decided to give it my all. The head chef told me to make the same soup we had eaten the previous day and to bake the burger buns. I knew what was missing, so I did my best. The head chef was surprised and praised me a lot. Everyone was happily tasting my dishes, and they could not believe I was just a stay-at-home wife before. But more than that, I was surprised at my newfound potential. There was a long way to go. Eventually, I got the job, and the salary was surprisingly high. I had never had this much money before. I was happy working there. I put all my effort into the job because it was all I had left in my life. Over time, I got promoted and became the head chef. I bought my own house in the city where no one could kick me out. Our breads and soups became famous and people came just to taste them. I even published a recipe book. But deep down in my heart, my dream of having my bakery was still unfulfilled. I decided to talk to Rose about it. Hey, I want to talk to you about something. Yes, Ava, please go ahead. Actually, do you remember when I told you about my dream of opening a bakery? Yes, I do. Well, I've been thinking about opening my bakery, but to do that, I would have to quit my job at your restaurant. Oh, that's so sad. But I don't want to hold you back, Ava. I know you have the potential to establish your brand, and I'm with you. Thank you so much, Rose. You are the best person I have ever met. I will train the restaurant's chef well, so you don't have to worry about the food after I leave. I know, Ava. You will do your best for our restaurant. And so I left the restaurant. I had enough savings to open a bakery in the city center, and that's exactly what I did. I gathered the best team possible and we opened my bakery called Ava's. I expected it to do well, but our small bakery exceeded my expectations. People were so happy with the quality of our bread and cakes. Soon, we expanded the small bakery into a restaurant and it became the city's new favorite spot. It was everywhere, even featured in food magazines. I had achieved my dream. Ava's had become a brand. I remembered the chandelier in Rose's restaurant and decided to create a special interior for our newly opened restaurant. I started getting quotations from many big companies interested in doing our interior design. And one day, something unexpected happened. I received a call. Hello, I'm Robert from RD Interiors. I'm calling about the contract for your restaurant's design. Can I get an appointment with the owner? I'd like to present in front of her. Yes, it was Robert, my ex-husband, who betrayed me and kicked me out of the house. I had come so far from my past. Why was he appearing in my life again? Anger, sadness, surprise, so many mixed emotions filled my mind. Hello? Robert, is this you? Oh, Ava, I couldn't recognize your voice. It's changed a lot. What do you want from me now? I'm sorry, Ava. I shouldn't have done that to you. I couldn't understand your importance and potential back then. Please forgive me. You broke my trust, and it's beyond forgiveness. Please leave me alone. I'm not interested in talking to you. Ava, please, at least listen to... Don't you understand? I said I am not interested in talking to you anymore. Ava, please listen to me for 5 minutes, then hang up. Fine, talk. But don't expect anything in return. Ava, my previous company fired me because I wasn't attentive at work. I started working at RD Interiors a few months ago, but even this company isn't satisfied with me. My responsibilities have increased and I can't handle it all. Please, this contract is my last hope. If I don't get it, my company will fire me. Oh, sorry, Robert. I'm not interested in working with your company. Ava, please. And I hung up the call, remembering how he had hung up on me while I was pleading for an explanation. Rose came to meet me on Saturday. She had become like family to me, and I desperately wanted to tell her everything. Hey, Star. Hey. What happened? You don't look fine as usual. Is everything okay? Well, the new restaurant and its interior. What about it? Are you struggling to choose the best one? Actually, I got a call and it was from Robert. He was asking for a contract for the interior of this new restaurant. Robert? Who? Your ex-husband? Yes. Ava, I told you he would pay for his actions. This is a good opportunity for revenge. Yes, I know. I want him to realize he made a mistake. I told him we don't want to work with his company. They might have fired him for not getting the contract. Ah, well, it was not an official way of securing a contract anyway. I wonder what happened to him. He was very sincere at work, and now he got fired from 2 companies? Strange. Yes, he's paying for his actions. But don't think too much about it. Let us go out. Yeah, sure. I received a text from Robert. I'm sorry, Ava. I've done you wrong. I have nothing left. Please come back to me. We'll work on our relationship again. I'm going to divorce Mia. I've realized your love and effort. While eating ice cream with Rose, I read that message without feeling anything. One thing was certain. I would never go back to him. The person who wasn't there for me during my difficult times was now demanding my attention during my happy moments. Honestly, that was my achievement, but I no longer had any love left for Robert, so I texted him back saying, I have moved on, Robert. Wishing you all the best for your future. And continued enjoying my ice cream.